The warm scent of freshly baked bread wafted from the kitchen, mingling with the sound of laughter in the backyard. 7-year-old Noah Daniels stood by the sandbox, clutching a plastic shovel like it was a precious artifact. Across from him, Lucas Miller furrowed his brow, carefully patting sand into a bucket mold. "Careful," Lucas said, his tone serious. "This is going to be the biggest sandcastle ever." Noah nodded solemnly. "Bigger than the one on the playground?" "Way bigger," Lucas declared. "It's going to have towers and a moat and everything." Their mothers watched from the porch, smiling. Margaret, Lucas's older sister, leaned against the railing. "Those two are inseparable," she said, rolling her eyes. "It's like watching an old married couple sometimes." "That's just how they are," Noah's mom, Beth, replied with a chuckle. "They're good for each other." Years later, those words would still hold true. Noah stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie for what felt like the 50th time. "Why did I agree to this?" he muttered under his breath. From the couch, Lucas smirked. "Because you have a hard time saying no to your mom. And because I said I'd go with you." "It's a wedding, Lucas, not a theme park," Noah shot back. "Yeah, but free food in an open bar? Sounds like a win to me," Lucas quipped, leaning back lazily. Noah sighed, turning to face his best friend. Lucas looked annoyingly relaxed, his button-down shirt slightly wrinkled, and his tie barely tied. Yet, somehow he still managed to look effortlessly good. "You could at least pretend to care about looking presentable," Noah grumbled, walking over to fix Lucas's tie. As Noah's hands brushed against his chest, Lucas stilled. The playful smirk faded from his face, replaced by something softer, almost unreadable. "There," Noah said, stepping back quickly. "Now you look decent." Lucas cleared his throat, breaking the moment. "Thanks. Guess that's why I keep you around." Noah rolled his eyes, grabbing his jacket. "Come on, let's go before my mom calls to remind me we're late." As they left the apartment, Lucas glanced at Noah from the corner of his eye. Moments like these had been happening more often, brief touches, lingering looks, but neither of them dared to name what was changing between them. At the wedding reception, the teasing started almost immediately. "You boys make such a cute couple," Margaret teased as she sipped her champagne. Noah nearly choked on his water. "We're not a couple." Margaret raised an eyebrow, her expression skeptical. "Ah, sure you're not. And I'm the Queen of England." Lucas laughed, patting Noah on the back. "Ignore her. She's been watching too many rom-coms." Beth joined in, her smile knowing. "Well, you do spend most of your time together. It's only natural people would think that." "Yeah, because we're best friends," Noah protested, his cheeks heating. "Best friends," Margaret echoed, her tone teasing. "Right?" Lucas tried to shrug it off, but something about the comments lingered. Everyone seemed to see something he couldn't, or didn't want to admit. The reception hall buzzed with laughter and conversation as the DJ turned up the music. Lucas leaned against the bar, nursing his second drink, while Noah stood awkwardly near the dance floor, trying to fend off Margaret's insistence that he join in. "Noah, come on," Margaret called, dragging him by the arm. "You're not going to sit this one out." "I don't dance," Noah protested, but it was no use. Margaret was strong for her size, and her determination was impossible to argue with. Lucas smirked, watching the scene unfold. "I think you're in trouble, buddy." "Oh, like you're not next," Noah shot back, narrowing his eyes at Lucas. Margaret let go of Noah long enough to point a finger at Lucas. "Good idea." "Lucas, you're up too. Dance with him." Lucas blinked, caught off guard. "Wait, what? Me?" "Yeah, you. Go save him from dying of awkwardness," Margaret said with a wink before disappearing into the crowd. Noah sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Well, thanks for that. Now I have to." Before he could finish, Lucas stepped onto the dance floor, offering his hand with an exaggerated bow. "Come on, partner. Let's make Margaret jealous." Noah rolled his eyes, but couldn't help laughing. "You're ridiculous, and you love me for it," Lucas quipped, taking Noah's hand and pulling him closer. The music shifted to something slower, and suddenly the teasing energy between them shifted. Noah swallowed hard as Lucas rested a hand lightly on his waist. "You good?" Lucas asked, his voice softer now. "Yeah," Noah said, though his voice cracked slightly. Just not used to this. This? Lucas raised an eyebrow. Dancing like this, Noah mumbled, avoiding eye contact. Lucas chuckled. Relax, I've got you. Noah looked up, meeting Lucas's eyes for a split second before glancing away again. His heart pounded in his chest, and he couldn't tell if it was from the proximity, the music, or the way Lucas's hand felt warm against his back. Across the room, Margaret nudged their moms with a knowing smile. Told you. They're practically made for each other. Beth grinned. It's only a matter of time. Later that night, Noah sat on the curb outside the venue, staring up at the stars. The cool air was a relief after the packed reception hall. He heard footsteps and turned to see Lucas approaching, his jacket slung over one shoulder. Escaping the crowd? Lucas asked, sitting beside him. Something like that, Noah replied, exhaling slowly. Lucas nudged him gently. You okay? You've been quiet since the dance. Noah hesitated, debating whether to brush it off. Just thinking about us, Noah admitted before he could stop himself. Lucas froze, caught off guard by the honesty. What about us? Noah quickly backpedaled. Not like that. I mean, Margaret and my mom keep teasing, and it's just weird, you know? Lucas relaxed, but the slight disappointment in his expression was fleeting. Yeah, weird. They sat in silence for a moment, the only sound the faint hum of traffic in the distance. Still, Lucas said, his voice thoughtful. If they see something, maybe it's not so crazy. Noah glanced at him, startled. You think so? Lucas shrugged, his tone light, but his expression unreadable. Who knows? As the silence stretched between them, unspoken feelings hovered in the air, heavy yet fragile. Neither of them was ready to take that leap. Yet, the drive home from the wedding was unusually quiet. Lucas was behind the wheel, his eyes fixed on the road, while Noah stared out the window, his thoughts a tangled mess. The soft hum of the radio filled the silence, but it did little to ease the tension between them. As they approached their apartment, Lucas broke the quiet. You've been weird tonight. Noah blinked, turning to him. What? You're quiet. You keep zoning out, Lucas said, parking the car. What's going on? Noah hesitated, his hand hovering over the door handle. It's nothing. Noah, Lucas pressed, his tone gentle but firm. Talk to me? Noah sighed, running a hand through his hair. It's just everything Margaret and my mom were saying. About us. It's messing with my head. Lucas leaned back in his seat, his expression unreadable. Messing with your head? How? They make it sound like, Noah trailed off, shaking his head. Never mind. Noah. The way Lucas said his name, soft, patient, made something in Noah snap. They make it sound like we're in love or something, Noah blurted, his voice tinged with frustration. Lucas didn't respond immediately, and the silence felt deafening. And the thing is, Noah continued, his voice quieter now, I can't stop thinking, what if they're right? Lucas's breath hitched, and for a moment, he looked as if Noah had just handed him the answer to a question he hadn't dared to ask. Noah, Lucas began, his voice barely above a whisper. What if they are? Noah froze, his heart pounding in his chest. You what? Lucas turned to face him fully, his expression open and vulnerable in a way Noah had rarely seen. You're my best friend, but it's always been more than that, hasn't it? Noah's mind raced, memories flooding in. The way Lucas always knew how to cheer him up, the countless nights they'd spent talking until dawn, the inexplicable comfort of Lucas's presence. Noah swallowed hard, his voice trembling. I think I've been scared to admit it. Because if I did, and it wasn't the same for you. It is, Lucas interrupted, his voice steady now. It always has been. The weight of Lucas's words settled over them, and for the first time, the unspoken feelings they'd danced around for years came to light. Without thinking, Noah leaned closer, and Lucas met him halfway. The kiss was tentative at first, a question and an answer all at once. When they pulled apart, Noah's cheeks were flushed, and Lucas's smile was soft and genuine. So, Lucas said, breaking the silence, do we tell Margaret and your mom they were right all along? Noah laughed, the sound light and freeing. Not yet. Let's keep this to ourselves for a little while. Deal, Lucas said, reaching over to intertwine their fingers. In that moment, the world outside their car didn't matter. For the first time, they weren't just best friends. They were something more. The days following that quiet, life-changing kiss were filled with a strange, exhilarating tension. Noah and Lucas found themselves walking a fine line between the comfort of their long-standing friendship and the new, uncharted territory of their relationship. They were more than friends now, but they weren't sure how to navigate the shift in dynamics just yet. At first, everything felt normal. They still hung out at their favorite cafe, still made jokes and teased each other about the same things, but there was an underlying current of something deeper. Every glance, every touch, felt charged in a way that had never been there before. Noah found himself watching Lucas more than he ever had, wondering if Lucas's smile was a little softer, his laughter a little more intimate now. It was late one evening when they finally sat down to have the conversation they both knew was coming. "I think we need to talk," Noah said, setting his coffee cup down. Lucas raised an eyebrow, his hand resting on the table between them. "I'm listening." Noah took a deep breath. "About what we are. About what we're doing." Lucas leaned forward, his eyes intense but calm. "You mean being more than friends?" "Yeah." Noah fidgeted with his napkin. "I don't want things to change between us, but I don't know how to handle this." Lucas smiled softly. "I get it, but I don't want to lose what we have either. This doesn't have to be some huge, life-altering thing. We're still us." "I know," Noah murmured, "but I think everyone else can see it." Lucas's expression softened. "And that scares you?" "A little," Noah admitted. "It's like everything has been so easy for so long, but now it feels like the world is watching us. Like it's not just us anymore." Lucas reached across the table, his hand gently resting on Noah's. "We don't have to rush anything. We'll figure it out. And if anyone asks, we'll tell them when we're ready. No pressure." Noah smiled, a weight lifting from his shoulders. "Yeah, I like that idea." But while the two of them were still figuring things out, their families and friends seemed to be more aware of their evolving relationship than they were. It was inevitable. Their mothers, as always, were the first to catch on. "Sweetie," Beth said one evening, casually glancing between them as she set down a plate of food, "you and Lucas seem a lot closer lately." Noah froze, his fork halfway to his mouth. "Closer?" Lucas echoed, his voice pitched just a little too high. "What do you mean by that?" Beth smiled knowingly. "Oh, come on. We're not blind." Noah could feel his face turning red. "Mom, relax," she said with a laugh. "I'm happy for you both." Lucas's eyes widened, clearly relieved. "Wait, so you're okay with this?" "Of course," Beth said, sitting down at the table. "You've both been inseparable since you were kids. I figured it was just a matter of time." It was Lucas who let out a breath of relief, his shoulders sagging. "We weren't sure how to bring it up." "Well, we were waiting for you two to figure it out," Margaret chimed in, walking into the room with a wink. "Honestly, it's about time." Noah groaned, hiding his face in his hands. "I knew you knew." "You two are about as subtle as a brick," Margaret teased, laughing. "Don't worry, Noah. We're happy for you both. It's obvious you're good for each other." "I'm just glad I don't have to pretend anymore," Lucas admitted with a chuckle. "But seriously, thanks for being cool with it." Beth smiled warmly. "Of course. You're both family to us." As they ate dinner together, Noah felt a strange sense of peace settle over him. It wasn't as hard as he'd thought. There was no shame, no hesitation, just acceptance. The hardest part was over, and for the first time, Noah let himself relax into the reality of being with Lucas. It didn't take long for the world outside their home to catch up. When they walked down the street together one afternoon, hand in hand, Noah felt the weight of a few curious stares. He wasn't sure if he was ready for that. "What do you think?" Noah asked, his voice low as they walked. Lucas glanced around, then squeezed Noah's hand. "I think we're just living our truth. Who cares what they think?" Noah sighed, glancing at their intertwined hands. "Yeah, but it's different now." Lucas stopped and faced him, his expression gentle. "You're right. It is different. But we're in this together, okay? No matter what anyone else thinks, we have each other." Noah met Lucas's gaze, and for the first time, the weight of the world outside felt lighter. It wasn't about the whispers or the stares. It was about them and what they were building together. They continued walking, side by side, a quiet understanding passing between them. They still had a lot to figure out, what this meant for their futures, how they would navigate the next steps. But for now, Noah didn't need to know all the answers. With Lucas beside him, everything felt right.